Hey guys, Simon Bryson here, and before I started learning more and more about investing, I thought OPM was always going to be a great idea. And by the way, OPM stands for other people's money, where basically you grab money, you borrow money to then go ahead and invest it and basically amplify the amount of money you can actually make. If I only have $1, but I can borrow 50K or 1K, I can grab that money, make money, pay that money back, and then keep the difference, which is basically my profit. But when it comes to margin accounts and borrowing against your investments, well, although you can amplify your gains, you can also go ahead and amplify your losses and basically lose a ton of money. And that is not what you want. And that's why today I'm going to go over exactly how margin accounts basically work, how they make money from you, all the pros and cons, and that way you can go ahead and avoid it. Because although I don't like it, I'm going to tell you all the pros also. That way you also know, hey, here are the good things, but here are the bad things. That way you know, hey, here is why Tommy doesn't actually use any margin accounts whatsoever. And if you guys are new here, I post videos every single day, so you should also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified. On top of that, also dismantle the like button. And by the way, guys, okay, what should the goal be for 2021 when it comes to subs? Would it be 400K? 500K? Comment down below, let me know. I'm gonna update this by most likely the next video you actually see, but comment down below, that way I know exactly what you guys think, and I can update it based on also what you guys think. Now, the very first thing is this. Tommy, what exactly is a margin account and how exactly does it work step by step? Well, the answer is basically whenever you have an investment account with ETFs or stocks, whatever it is, okay, the answer is the broker can give you the option to borrow against it, use that money to go ahead and invest more money into it, or for example, take the cash out and use the cash for whatever you actually want to use. So in very simplistic terms, it's basically a loan secured against your investment. So basically, if you don't pay my money, I go ahead and sell your investments. That way, I get my money right back. So if I have a portfolio of 100K and I borrow 50K from the portfolio, well, before the portfolio hits 50K, I go ahead and sell your investments. That way, I can take that money back and I don't have to worry about it. So overall, it's just a loan against your investments backed up with your investments. That's the overall idea. And it's not always, hey, I have to use money for stocks. The answer is no. You can grab that money and use it to do whatever you actually want to do with it. But later in the video, I'll tell you all the pros and also all the cons when it comes to a margin account. But I want to show you guys a real example because, by the way, when I was growing up, the best teachers I had were always teachers that showed me with real examples, not just, hey, here's this word and that word, right? So in reality, right here is my entire portfolio with M1 Finance, and they also allow you to use a margin account to basically borrow against your portfolio. So right here, guys, is my entire portfolio. And right here, I have around $117,000 in this M1 Finance portfolio. Now, if I go down here where it says borrow, they actually allow me to borrow up to 35% of my portfolio, which right now is around $41,100. Now, on top of that, the interest rate is only 2%. But the most important things you want to look out for when it comes to a margin account is basically, hey, how much money can I borrow overall? On top of that, what is the maintenance of the entire margin accounts? And also, well, how is your policy when it comes to, hey, margin calls? The most important thing. And I will explain that right now. The first thing is, okay, answer one. When it comes to M1 Finance, let you borrow around 35% of your portfolio. By the way, this is a real phone. It's not fake or anything. See, invest, also borrow, a change at the same time is a real example, right? So in this case, let me borrow 35% at a 2% interest rate, okay? Also, my entire investments right here, click here. Also, my portfolio, my investments are into ETFs. Now, whenever I click one of them, it'll tell me exactly what my maintenance is supposed to be required if I do get a margin account. So in this case, okay, let's click the first one, VOO. I have here around $44,000 invested. Now, it says right here, I require to have a maintenance of around 25% equity. Meaning, for example, hey, as long as my investment does not fall below 25% equity, I can still continue to use that money. Now, here is what the margin calls actually come into play. Let's say, for example, I have this investment right here of $44,000, right? $44,000. And it falls below that 25% equity rate, right? So multiply by 0.25%. In reality, if it falls below $11,000, they're going to give me a margin call, a warning. What this means is, hey, Tommy, you have to go ahead and invest more money into it to bring it back to the equity it's supposed to be at, okay? But if you don't do that, what do they do? They go ahead, grab your investments and liquidate them to cover the difference. That way, they don't lose money. So the idea is, before your portfolio can fall to a point where the broker cannot make money, they give you a call saying, hey, it's falling way too low, invest more money, or we're going to have to go ahead and liquidate your portfolio and get all our money out. Now, the cool thing is this, okay? This means they never lose money. They make interest off of you, yes, but they can't lose money because basically the loan is backed by your investments. And before it goes too low, they go ahead and liquidate them and get that money right back. Now that you know exactly what a margin account is and also how it works, let's talk about the pros and cons of actually using a margin account. Now, by the way, let's go straight back to my phone again and go right back into M1 Finance, okay, just to see everything right here, and boom. Right here is my M1 Finance account. And right here when I click borrow, it shows me all the pros of actually using a margin account. So in this case, I get to have extra buying power. So if I only have 170K invested and I want to invest my money, but don't have any capital, I can grab that money, invest it, and boom, now I have more investments inside there. Also, I can pay for my wedding or use that money to buy me a new PS5 or Nintendo Switch, whatever I basically want to do with it. Also start a business, handle my emergencies, very bad idea by the way. And on top of that, remodel your home or for example, refinance other debt. Now, you might say, Tommy, well, this sounds great because basically it's only at 2%, right? It's awesome. But in reality, it's more like 3% because basically to get 2%, you need to be a premium user, and they gave me a trial of 1 year, and that's the only reason I'm actually a premium user. I'm just being honest here, okay? But overall, this 2% is variable, meaning it's based on the Fed rates, meaning that it could change. It could be double or triple tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen, and we also cannot predict it. So you can't say, hey, 2% is great, I'm gonna go ahead and refinance, because basically that's not true. So imagine, for example, worst scenario here, okay? The world is about to end and your entire portfolio drops by 75%. Now all of a sudden they do a margin call. Hey, we need our money back or we're going to sell everything you actually have here. Now you lose all of your investments. And that is basically what you don't want in that worst scenario. Or for example, you put money inside, but now you're running short on money and then say, hey, guess what? We're actually going to go ahead and raise the interest rate because basically the Fed raised rates. And now you have another problem on your hands. Now, that is not the only con when it comes to margin accounts, because on top of that, let's go over again M1 Finance to see exactly what they can actually do. Again, I only want to use real examples here. So let's go right here where it says learn more. And as you guys probably know, whatever bad news there is always going to be at the bottom of the page. So let's go ahead and scroll down. And right here is all the bad news, okay? Margin disclosure. And here it is, guys, okay? Let me just zoom in all the way here, okay? It basically says, hey, you can lose more money than you borrowed. On top of that, the firm can go ahead and sell your investments to then go ahead and pay for the loan you actually got against your investments. Also, they do not need permission from you to actually go ahead and sell the investments. Also, they can sell it immediately. So, although you might fall below 25% and they might give you a warning, they don't have to. If they wanted to, they can go ahead and sell it immediately. But usually, this should give you a 1 to 3 day period to go ahead and basically put more money in, or basically go ahead and liquidate some of your investments. Also, say for example, my maintenance is 25%, right? But in reality, that can actually go up to 35% or 50%. And then you have a whole different issue because again, they have all the control, they have all the leverage. And my advice is this, guys, okay? You never want to get into a deal where they're allowed to switch the terms on you whenever they actually want to, allowed to switch the rates on you, allowed to switch the maintenance on you. So you're like, okay, everything is good now, but I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So the risks are very high. And that's basically why I never recommend you go ahead and get a margin account. So although right now, for example, and by the way, to invest with margin accounts in M1 Finance, for example, you require to have around $10,000. Some firms out there only require $2,000 and lend you up to 50% of your portfolio. But again, they're always going to make money. They're always looking around for their best interest. So you have to look out for yours. And that's why I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Peter Lynch, also Philip Fisher, all legendary investors always say, hey, do not borrow money to go ahead and invest, because although you might make a lot of money, you can also lose a ton of money, and then you'll get into massive trouble, and then you have a whole different issue. And on top of that, you never want to get into a contract when the party is allowed to go ahead and change the terms on you however they want, whenever they actually want to do it. So my advice is this, okay? If you don't have a lot of money, that's fine. Invest with what you have and do it with that. Don't go ahead and borrow money with your portfolio or, for example, against your house or any of that stuff, okay? Because basically the terms are not in your favor. And by the way, some people say, hey, no, it's fine, okay? When the market is down, borrow money, invest a lot. When it's up, use your money to pay it off. But that's all saying, for example, hey, I have a high income, I can afford to do this. But if you can't and you don't have that, you are going to be caught, okay? And like Warren Buffett says, guys, okay, when the tide goes down, you are going to see who is skinny dipping, okay? You never want to invest usually with borrowed money. It's way too risky, and that's why I don't recommend it. All the cons outweigh all the pros. The pros is basically, hey, I get to buy something I can't afford right now. The con is, hey, I can switch everything up on you, take all your investments, you lose everything, and I always win. Why would you want to play a game when the odds are not in your favor? Your job as an investor is to basically say, hey, I'm an investor. I always invest when the odds are in my favor. That way, I limit risk. This is not that type of game. But guys, that is about it for margin accounts. Comment down below if this video actually helped you in any way. And if it did, comment down below, let me know. And on top of that, also, like this video if you liked it. And also, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified. And if you want to text me or call me one-on-one, join my Patreon, link down below, or send me a DM on Instagram at Tommy Bryson. And if you want to see exactly how I invest $1,000, here's that video right here. Click me on. I'll switch tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And as always, peace. Keep investing, but you gotta be patient.